What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Only 4 Cylinders. So today we're going to be doing something a little different in this video. This black EK hatch behind me that you see, our friend Pedro had bought this car and originally planned on taking it down to Florida. But things had changed and he wasn't able to come up and get it, so he wanted to sell the car. Obi and I decided, since the car's up here with us, we figured we could, clean it up and get rid of it for him and help him out. So, a good friend of mine, Kenny, wanted to buy the car, so I got it all ready for him and everything, and he came to get it, and come to learn that the head gasket was on its way out. So, simple enough, change the head gasket, go over it while, go over everything else while I'm there, get it on the way. But I figured, why not record it for you guys and show you guys how to change a head gasket on a D16, a little single cam. We do a lot of those. We like single cams, probably what we're going to put in just about everything. We like our B series too, but I don't know. D series is where it's at for me. So yeah, I want to get right into it, try to figure out the best way to show you guys step by step with getting right to the point. I don't want it to be boring and drawn out. So yeah, try to get right to it, shall we? So I wanted to give you guys a quick breakdown of, how I go about it. I mean, everybody has their own way. The dealer has their own way, and everything's different, but what I, start with simply is drain the coolant. This had water in it, so I just threw the hoses off and let it run down the driveway because it's just water. But, yeah, so drain the coolant first, get that all out of there, and then I'll start removing the big stuff that's nice and easy to get off and in my way. So I'll get this pipe off, get the intake off, I'll get the power steering pump out of the way, and this mount out of the way. I'll get the cover off, I'll start taking the header off. And after that, I'll pull the distributor, and then after that, it's just a couple hoses and vacuum lines in the back. And once you get the timing belt off, you pull the 10 head bolts or whatever it is, and you pull the head up. It's not as hard as, some people fear it to be. So I'm going to get some tools together and set up the GoPro for you guys, and, I'll talk through it as I go, and we'll get this head swap, get the head off, get the gasket swap. Let's do it. Alright, so bear with me, guys, it's hot, but just wanted to give you guys a quick little, update, explanation deal. So far, I pulled the distributor along with the wires and everything. I got the manifold off, power steering pump just pulled out of the way. I got this little, part of the mount off, and I got the intake off, obviously. And I'm gonna start next by disconnecting, a couple hoses. Like this one loops from the thermostat housing up to the head, so I'll pull this hose off, and then like this vacuum line here goes to the the back of the intake. Any clips like so, anything that goes to the intake, I'll unplug and everything so the intake can come up with the head. Keep it simple. You have your coolant sensor here, and the oil pressure. Yeah, so just get all that stuff off, and along with I got the dipstick out of the way so I can get to the timing cover, and then I had to get the heat shield off and pull the O2 sensor just to make room, make it easier for me. So, I had to get all these 10s off of the timing cover and pull that off so I can get the timing belt off. But we're already halfway there, if not more. We'll get the throttle cable out of the way. But yeah, it's not, like I said, it's not as hard as you may think. So I'm gonna keep thrashing on this thing and get closer to getting that head pulled off. Guys, I wanted to give you another little update here and give you some knowledge if I can. So this car is all stock, and when you have a factory car, it has a lot of accessories and things that the Honda boys would normally take off But there's a bracket that runs from the block up to the bottom of the intake. So it's a 12mm bolt that holds it to the intake. So I drop that 12. And when I pull the head off, usually I take the bracket off just because it's not something you need. It's not going to cause any issues. But I'll leave it on there. I just won't put the bolt back in it just because it's so much easier next time the head's got to come off. And also I realized that I called this an oil pressure sensor. It's not what it is. It's a temp sensor. The oil pressure's in the back of the block. I don't know. But either way. So yeah, I want to tell you about that little bracket. I got mostly everything unplugged and off the back of the intake and everything like that. I just also went ahead and pulled the spark plug here. And I use 2 extensions because it works. Keep it simple. So I put that in there and I slowly turn the crank pulley and it allows me to find top dead center. So I put this in top dead center, and this isn't necessarily the correct way to do it or the best way, but it's easiest. So going the easy route, that's what I do. Again, it's not the best way or the right way, but this way works. I've done it on my race car, you know, 500-600 horsepower single cam. I've done it. Do it on all the cars that I work on, so it works. Doesn't matter. So I put it in top dead center, and then I slide the belt off, right? And then because to get this lower cover off, it's a job. Like, you got to pull the balancer, you got to pull the AC bracket, you got to get all that stuff out of the way to get the cover off to get to the tensioner. So I try to put it in time and then slip the belt off, and then when I put the head back on after the gasket, I could try to get the belt right back on. And, you know, yes, you can end up a tooth off. Things happen. But if you do it right, you get it right, you can get the belt right back on, no tensioner, no nothing. You get lucky, and it'll go back together and not have any issues. So I'm trying to save myself a lot of work and a lot of time. Slip the belt off, that's a guarantee. But once I get the head back on the car, will I be able to slip the belt back on? It's a gamble. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Depends how worn the belt is, what position it's in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, like I said. So we'll see how that goes when we get there. And if I get it on, that's great, and I'll prove it to you. And if I don't, then you're gonna learn how to take the bottom cover off, and we're gonna have to use the tensioner. So I was looking at this belt, and it says Gates on it, and it also says Honda. So I was pretty impressed by that. You know, me and Jesse just talked about, like, I gave him a call. You can't prove that it's factory. You know, I'm not gonna say it's 20 whatever years old. The car's a 98. So I'm not saying it's original, but it could be, because like Jesse said, he made a good point. It's in that cover, 20 years, whatever, the rubber could hold up. It's either that, or, you know, at the deadline of 100,000, 120,000, whenever they recommend to change the timing belt and all that good stuff, maybe whoever owned the car took it to the dealer, and that's a belt that's not that old. The car's like 170,000 on it, so maybe it's a new belt, maybe it's the factory belt, I don't know. But either way, it looks pretty good. I don't think it needs to be replaced. You probably should if you were there, but like I said, I'm trying not to go that far. So I'm just gonna slip the belt off, and then I'm pretty sure I'm ready to pull head bolts. I'm gonna take another quick look underneath and make sure, and then I'm gonna have the head off here in a few minutes. So I'd say I've been at it about maybe 40 minutes, maybe. And I've been taking my time. I've been stopping, making phone calls, and, you know, on and off the camera. So like I said, if with the stock accessories and extra stuff, I mean, in a solid 45 minutes to an hour, you can have the head off. It's not that difficult. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna check over a few more things, try to get the head pulled off, and then we will go from there. Alright guys, so I think the head's ready to come off. I think I got everything unplugged underneath of it, so I'm going to try to pick it up, see if it comes off. If it does, I'll lay it down the shirt, we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so I got the head off. Not too bad. I believe that the gasket was definitely bad. It looks like it blew out here. See if I can get it to focus for you guys. It looks like it was blown out over here. You know, I don't know what's going on, what that material is, or like dirt and grime and rust and build up and something. something kind of nasty. But yeah, I mean, other than that, gasket was definitely wore. Multi-layer steel though, which is pretty impressive. Sorry guys, let me zoom out. But yeah, I'm pretty confident the gasket was the culprit. So I also didn't get to explain to you guys, I should have. I didn't really think about it till now. But what the car was doing was pushing coolant into the, the overflow of the reservoir. And then I have this, I don't know the exact name for it. Should say it on it. It's like a bleeder tool, spill-free funnel. But yeah, so I use that and to bleed it and everything. And when I had that in there, it was building pressure that it shouldn't have, and it was pushing the coolant up out of there. So, that's what led me to believe it was the head gasket. Obviously that and the overheating. So, pretty sure the gasket was the culprit. The only thing I'm concerned about is when I pulled the head up and off, I heard something fall, something metal jingled on the way down. So I want to dig around for that for a minute. So once I get that figured out, start cleaning up surfaces and everything, I'll give you guys a little rundown on that. And then we're going to get a new gasket on there, slap the head on, and see what it does. Alright guys, I just wanted to give you a little rundown here of how I go about. Alright guys, just wanted to give you a little rundown. So when it comes to getting ready for the new gasket, cleaning the surfaces and everything, you just want to clean the mating surfaces of where the gasket will sit between the block and the head. So obviously here, and then also here on the head, just where the gasket will sit. So what I, do to keep it simple, I have this little scraper here from Harbor Freight, another fancy razor blade on the end, and I just go around and I scrape, the old gasket. Could be silicone or debris or carbon or whatever it may be that's on there. You just clean it up because you want it to mate nice and clean. And then after the razor blade, I will come along with this little Scotch-Brite, this little abrasive pad, and just scuff it to make sure I got every little thing. And you don't want to go digging deep crazy because you can't go gouging it because you don't want to change the deck height or something crazy like that. Obviously you can't go chewing into it, but some people prefer like a whizzer wheel or a wire wheel. There's all different ways to do it. It's just, getting it clean and fresh to, have the new gasket sit on there nice and seal properly. So I got that all accomplished. Sorry there for the camera. Yeah, I'm going to head to AutoZone, get some parts. After this, I'm going to do an oil change on the CRV. So, yeah, I'm going to grab a gasket. We're going to get this thing back together and see how it runs, and hopefully it doesn't overheat. Alright guys, made it back from AutoZone. Got a new gasket. We have the surfaces all clean and good to go. I also wanted to explain, when I pulled the head up, I told you guys I heard a little jingling sound, and it was the dowel pins. So the dowel pins, as you can see, you could put, I believe, one here and then also in the back. I usually have two, whether they're, one in the front, one in the back, you straddle them. I think I'm going to go for like a cross pattern. Probably what I'm going to go with. So I like to put the dowels in the block and then sit the gasket on. It helps keep the gasket centered, and then lower the head down onto it. You can also stick them in the head if you wanted to, and then sit the head down. I feel like it's harder that way. And like I said, I don't believe it matters whether you put them both in the front or both in the back or whatever. So I'm going to go diagonal on this one. And yeah, then I will sit the gasket down on top of the the block, and the dowel pins will keep that there. Then I'll sit the head back down and start reassembling everything. Let's get to it. So once you're putting your gasket on, you just obviously check it, flip it around, do whatever you need to do to see that you have it going the right way and facing the right way. And that's pretty easy to do so because everything will only line up one way. So one thing I'm noticing, why, I don't know why, but so as you can see that I had the dowel pin back there, but it wouldn't fit through the gasket there. So that tells me that that's where that's got to be, right in the front there. Sorry, I'm not used to this camera, guys, so I'm not always showing the right thing. But yeah, like I said, the gasket's cut out for all the different holes and everything, so it's only going to sit one way. So now I got the gasket on there. I will lower the head down onto the block, and like I said, I will start assembling it. So once I get the head down there, you know, set on there, once I make sure it's seated properly, I'll start with the head bolts, and there is a sequence to tighten them. You know, you start in the center and work your way out. I'll have to Google the stock torque specs. I don't remember, probably like 60 foot-pounds or something. So yeah, torque the head down, and then I'll start putting all my lines and plugs and, you know, electrical clips back on and get everything back where it belongs. Fire this thing up and see if it stops overheating. Get to it. Alright guys, so as you just saw, I got the belt back on. Now, what I did just to be extra safe, and to show you guys more so, but I marked the timing belt and the cam gear in multiple spots to let me know that's exactly where the belt had to go back on, because I had, you know, 1 and 4 in top dead center, so I know that the car will be back in time. And, you know, this is my first how-to video, so I didn't want to get crazy, nor did I want to do any more work than I had to. So, sorry I'm not really showing you guys how to put a single cam in time. You know, there's timing marks on the bottom, crank pulley. You line that up and then, you know, put top dead center and then put your belt on. So it's pretty simple. But, just to show you guys that it's doable, I just got the timing belt off, to change the head gasket, put the head back on, and put the belt back on, without removing the lower timing cover, and without, you know, using the tensioner. So, with a little bit of force there, you know, you can get the belt back on, and that's it. I'm not saying it's a piece of cake. Obviously, you see me struggle with it a little bit. It's not the easiest thing. It's tough. You gotta have some strong fingers. But it's a lot better, in my opinion, than having to pull all the extra stuff to get to the tensioner. Like, you know, it's a decent amount of work to get down to there. So that's my easy way to do it. Hopefully, guys, you know, you agree and enjoy. You know, you got to see it. It's proven. Don't tell me it don't work. So yeah, I'm gonna keep getting everything back together and get this thing fired up. Alright guys, so I got everything back together as you saw. She's ready to fire. Jesse actually just got here too. I was pretty excited about that. So, what do you say, Jess? I'll start putting some coolant in. You can crank it. Do the honors. Yeah, I'll start putting coolant in it. And I was showing them how I was able to get the belt on without like touching the tensioner. I was pretty surprised. I thought it was gonna like screw me and make me a liar, but I got it. All good. can't tell if the idle's high because of the, it's cold and all that good stuff, but I might be from the adjustment on the throttle cable, so I could always lower that in a couple minutes, let it warm up. But obviously in time, no issues, sounds great. Just hope everything's good with the head gasket. I'm just going to let this thing run for a while, let the coolant bleed, the system bleed and everything. And give you guys an update once we determine that head gasket's all good. Alright guys, we're on a little test ride. It seems to be working good. Probably been driving like 5-10 minutes. Temperature gauge is where it's at, fans coming on and off. All seems good. So much for that. Well, back to the drawing board. This is running a little warm.
Did you say so?
Yeah, it sucks. I wonder why.
Now what? Now what?
I don't know.
Don't turn the heat on.
Kenny said put the heat on and dropped it right back down. We're going to see if it does. But what is it?
It's this Honda. It's a Honda, that's why.
The fan's working, coolant's flowing good, new head gasket. What would it be?
Let's go back down there.
I know. Whew.
Let's delete the thermostat. Thermostat delete.
Yeah, try look at it, right back down. The only reason I wasn't thinking thermostat is because both sides of the hose were hot. It's not like it wasn't circulating. And the hose was real stiff, like it was pressured. That's, you know what I mean? It all led to head gasket. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys when we get back to the house.